In this lecture, I will help you understand the logical architecture of the e-commerce application which we are going to build through this course. In other words, understand how we structure the code of the application. Typically an application is structured into some logical layers. On top is the view layer that renders the user interface to the client. In the view layer, we can use Timeleaf mixed with HTML code to render the pages to the client. And the actions of the users in the view layer, we invoke the controller layer. In the controller layer, we can use Spring MVC controller, REST controller for RESTful web services, and the controller layer depends on the service layer that contains business classes, and the service layer depends on the repository layer that contains entity classes and repository interfaces. And below is a Spring Data JPA layer. Spring Data JPA, we use Hybrid framework as the implementation of a JPA. Hybrid, we use a JDBC driver to communicate with the underlying database. And note that the request from the client will come to the controller layer. Here, the controller layer is responsible for handle requests from the clients, and it will call the service layer to perform the logic, the business of the application, and then it will render the view that is returned to the client. And here are some examples of file names for each layer. Products HTML in the view layer, product controller in the controller layer, product service in the service layer, product entity class, product repository in the repository layer. And the code which we write in this project is for these layers: view, controller, service, and repository.